Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host at Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be breaking into the contents of this year's Blitz Fair. We're going to be breaking into all of the 33 vehicles available in the snow globe. We're going to be breaking into all of the tanks on the first week's auction, and as well, the drop chances of getting snow globes this year in gold boxes and free XP containers. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But let's get straight into it, starting off with the auctions. This is going to be all the tanks of the first week's auction, and there's quite a few, as we can see. I also realize that I'm not on the screen. There you are. But we have the Chieftain Mark 6, the AMX M4 MLE, which we did see in their video. We didn't see the Object 752, Defender Mark 1, IS-3 Defender, Chimera, SU-130PM, Object 252U, the Bosch Chatillon Barrasque, T-26E5, the Dracula, Gravedigger M41D, and the Kunze-Panzer. Now, if I were to tell you some really good tanks in this list, I would start at the bottom. Let's make our way to the top. I'd say the Kunze-Panzer is a really good vehicle, and a lot of people aren't going to really want to get it, in my opinion, which means that you might get it really cheap. It's kind of a discount Dracula, and because the Dracula is in this list as well, I would personally suggest to ignore the Drac and go for the Kunze-Panzer. This vehicle is, I would say, worth maybe about 4,000 gold, and if you can get it for that price tag, I think that it's more than a really good deal. So that's the first tank. M41D, another fantastic tank. I would say that that tank as well is worth about 4,000 gold, 5,000 gold. Really solid vehicle. It's got a great gun, great mobility, and it's got the best power to weight in the game. So these two vehicles, while they may be at the bottom and not on fire by Alexandra, is still a fantastic group. Next up, the Gravedigger. I personally would not suggest to buy it. It's kind of a mediocre tank, kind of boring, and it's really only good against tier 7s. A price tag of it, maybe 3,000 gold. It's just not a spectacular tank, and there's a lot better options here, so don't get the Gravedigger. Dracula, everybody wants it. It's a fun, fantastic vehicle. As I said, personally, I think the Kunze is a better deal, but if you wanted to get the Dracula, I would say the price tag of maybe about 5,000, 6,000 gold is okay. Anything more than that, and it's a lot of money for a tank that really is kind of outdated nowadays. I would say there's a lot of really solid mediums that actually contest the Dracula quite a bit. T-26E5 is a really boring heavy tank. There's nothing really special about it. It's got good turret armor, good mobility, and a really solid gun. So, I mean, if you like hull-down heavies and you want a really solid turret, it's a nice tank. And I would say maybe about 4,000 gold as well. Honestly, it really isn't anything special. You'll enjoy the Kunze-Panzer and M41D probably a lot more. Now, the Barrasque, absolutely fantastic vehicle. Probably one of the best tier 8s in the game, especially if you understand how to use it. So, the Barrasque, I would be willing to put at around maybe 7,000 gold. It's actually a really great tank, and I think 7,000 is a pretty good price tag for that type of vehicle. Object 252, I wouldn't buy. You can get it incredibly cheap almost every couple of months when it goes on sale. So I wouldn't suggest to buy it unless it's like 3,000 gold, because it really isn't that great of a tank to spend that much money on, especially when we have vehicles nowadays like the Type 57 Mecha, which is just a 252 with more gun depression, more alpha, and it even has more accuracy because of reticle cali. So 252 is a bit of an outdated vehicle. SU-130PM, absolutely fantastic tank. It's a bit forgotten because of the Scorpion G, but it's better than the Scorpion, and I don't even believe that's an opinion. Nowadays, it's got better camo, it's got really solid DPM, better penetration because it fires heat, it's got great accuracy, it's got super good gun depression at 7 degrees. It's just a really solid tank, and unlike the Scorpion, it's not actually a huge HE magnet, judging that the upper plate is actually an auto ricochet for a lot of shells. So the SU-130PM, I'd be willing to put it at about 4,000 to 5,000 gold. I think that would be a pretty decent price tag. Next up, we have the Chimera. Everybody knows about the Chimera. I'd be surprised if the majority of you didn't own it already, but if you don't, I would be willing to say that the Chimera is worth about maybe 6,000 gold, 6,000, 7,000 gold. It's a really amazing vehicle. The fact that it has 440 alpha, it's got good mobility, good armor, reticle cali, reactive as well for a medium, which is absolutely stupid. So yeah, the Chimera is just an absolute win. And if you can get it for less than, as I said, 7,000, it's a score. Defender, no, I just wouldn't say to get the IS-3 Defender. It's a really old vehicle, and while it is a still decent tank, it's just not worth it. I would say maybe 4,000 to 5,000 gold. That's a decent price tag. It's a fun vehicle. You'll definitely enjoy it, but I don't think that it's a superb tank. So yeah, it's a tank. Next up, we have the Defender Mark 1. Absolutely fantastic tank. Very underrated. I would say it's a lot better than the Centurion RAAC. And price tag wise, I'd say about 6,000 gold is a really good deal for it. It's honestly just such a good tank. The fact that it has great hull down capabilities, especially with a nearly impervious turret. Also, the Centurion accuracy and penetration. Just a great tank. Next up, we have the Object 752, which we all know is the double shot that is absolutely storming the game in win rate. It's probably going to be one of the most expensive vehicles in the first part of the auction. I would guess starting off at maybe 20,000 plus gold. Do I think it's worth any bit? Well, it is a really solid tank, and it's a really fun tank, so I would say maybe about 10,000 to 12,000 gold is honestly a decent price tag for the tank. It's a super strong tank, and yeah, I honestly think that it's worth around that much. I might be wrong, but that's how much I would sell it for if I wanted to, like, get a decent deal on it. AMX M4 MLE 54 is a fantastic vehicle. It's got great mobility, good alpha, really strong armor. It's a bit tricky to understand how to play, and if you're newer to the game, I definitely wouldn't suggest to go for it. Maybe stick to the Mark 6, but it's a really solid vehicle, and it's probably one of my favorite tier 10 heavies in the game, as I made a video on that just a couple weeks ago. I would say the AMX M4 is worth about 13,000, 14,000 gold. It is a tier 10 after all. Maybe even about 12,000. Anywhere around there, I'd say is a pretty good price tag for the tank, especially because if you don't like it, you can always sell it for half the gold at 7,500. So yeah, I'd say it's a pretty solid tank, and I guess we'll have to see. It's definitely not going to get less than 10,000 gold because you can sell it for 7,500, which wouldn't make sense, right? Chieftain Mark 6 is also another fantastic vehicle. 3,000 DPM, great accuracy. It fires Hesh. It's got good gun depression at 10 degrees, good mobility, 42 kilometers per hour. It's just a really nice overall vehicle. It's good for a beginner, it's good for an overall experienced player, and it never ever gets boring. But it has been sold a lot. So I would say about 12,000 to 13,000 gold would be an okay price for it. I guess we'll have to see when Wargaming does release these tanks for the auctions. I would guess the Chieftain and AMX start at about 20,000, maybe 17,500. Object 752 I think might actually be the most expensive, no joke. And then for the rest of the vehicles, I think they'll start off at about 14,000 as they are mainly tier 8s. Well, there you have it. That is the list of the vehicles in the auctions. Next up, we have the snow globes, and there's a lot of tanks. I'm not going to get into the likeness of these vehicles because there are so many. I'm just going to say if they're good or they're mediocre. So, Karo 45 ton, great. Stritz von K, great. AMX M454, great. Kampfpanzer 50 ton, great. VK90, great. Concept 1B, great. 907, great. T22 medium, great. Object 268 version 4, mediocre. It's fun, but mediocre. K91, great. Object 752, great. WZ121 GFT, great. WZ122 TM, great. Skoda T56, great. Progetto 46, great. Lance and C, mediocre. It's a bit on the outdated side. I mean, it's got a great gun, good accuracy, good penetration, but it definitely has downsides. Barask is obviously great. AMX CDA 105, mediocre. That's probably so far the worst vehicle on this list. The Scorpion G, great. M48A2 Orampanzer, great. Keeler, I'd actually say is pretty great, honestly. It's a little under wraps, but it's honestly a really nice tank with the alpha it carries. Type 57 is fantastic. Titan 54D, pretty great, actually. I would say it's mediocre, in between great and mediocre, but it's got a super solid gun. GSOR, great. Action 10, mediocre because it's a vehicle that you can get usually pretty cheap. It's still a fantastic tank. It's just not great because you can get it for such a cheap price tag. Chimera, fantastic. T77 is completely overpowered. M4Yo, it's mediocre. It's got a nice gun, but nothing special. Object 274A, mediocre. And I don't know what these bottom tanks are, but I would guess we have the Smasher or the Annihilator. We have the Dracula, Helsing. That's definitely the Helsing there, because that's a tier 7. Maybe that's the Annihilator, I would guess there, with a 2% drop chance. I'd guess it's the Smasher, the Annihilator, and that's the meetings of the Dracula. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, so that's a pretty good full list of the snow globe. I was pretty sure that there was going to be a lot of vehicles. Now, when it comes to the drop chance, we can see that the Caro and STRVK make up a whole 2% combined. It's a very low drop chance. For example, we can see that some of the mediums, like the T22, have 3%, and that's it. All the other tanks are 2%, so 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So pretty low drop chances for the tier 10s. When it comes to lower tiers, we've got a 5% on the WZ122TM, 5% on the Lance and C, 5% on the Keeler, 5% on the Type 57, 5% on the Action 10. So you can see that a pretty decent chunk of these vehicles is actually, unfortunately, well, all tier 8s that are the 5%. So that kind of sucks, right? Now, I will point out at the bottom here, you can see right here that the tokens for the STRVK are guaranteed. And just like last year, it's probably going to be 10 to get the vehicle 100%. All right, moving on, we have the drop chances inside of the free XP containers and as well the gold containers. Let's start off with the gold containers and then we'll move on to the free XP. So, we can see that it has a T2020, Cromwell Berlin, Excelsior, Panzer 5.4, T61 Grizzly, 250,000 credits to 1 million, a couple legendary camos that aren't really that special. There's the Snow Globe, and we can see some camouflages. That's an attachment, so I hope that these are going to be cool camos, but I can't really tell right now. As we can see, it's just, you know, it's pretty hard to see what the camos are. So I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping that these are really, really good camouflages. A little bit further down the list, we can see some premium time, some XP boosters, a couple other boosters. I'm not sure what this thing is here, but my guess is it's a little trophy you can turn in for free experience. And then apart from that, that's about it. There's really not that much that's special in these containers, but the main thing you want to get is the Snow Globe. Now, as we can see on the drop chances, the Snow Globe is here, and it's a 10% drop chance, the same as last year, which is honestly really nice. I was a little worried they were going to make it lower, so thankfully they didn't, and it's the same drop chance. The T2020 is a 0.45% drop chance, same for the Cromwell Berlin, making up a whopping 0.9%. The Excelsior is 0.9%, and same for the Panzer 5.4. T61 Grizzly is 1.35%, and what really sucks is none of these tanks give you gold. It's really lame, because for a player like me, I would much rather get gold out of these containers, especially because they cost gold to purchase. We can see down a little bit further that some of the other things like the camouflages are 0.9% drop chance, and well, the rest of the stuff doesn't really matter. These are certificates and boosters. So these are the main things up here that are really important, specifically the Snow Globe. Now, when we take a look at the free XP containers, we can see that you actually get gold from the free XP tanks. Yeah, kind of ironic, right? The gold containers you get credits, and the free XP containers you actually get gold for. So if you have a lot of free XP saved up, maybe use them, because we can actually see the drop chances are also better for the free XP containers. You got a 1% drop chance for the, I don't know what that is, maybe an SU-85I, a 1% drop chance for the Locust, a 1% drop chance for the SCM 36 Pack 40, a 0.5% drop chance for the A32, and a 0.5% drop chance for the M4A2. So if you add all those together, that means you've got about a 1, 2, 3, 4% drop chance for all of the vehicles. That's actually not too bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's a 4% drop chance to get like 1,000 gold if you have these tanks already, or you get duplicates. So I'm a fan of that, especially because I have a lot of free XP. We also can take a look at the Snow Globe drop chance, which is right here, which is a 2%. So it's low. It's a lot lower. It's 5 times lower than the gold, but I'm pretty sure Wargaming is going to do the same thing this year, where once you open up 50, they are going to double the chance of the Snow Globe. Or no, it's only 1% higher, so it goes from 2% to 3%, but also the containers get 100,000 instead of 50,000 per free XP. So I guess we'll have to see. But either way, that is the Snow Globe drop chance. When we take a look at what else is in these containers, we can see 75 gold to 5,000, and the drop chance for 75 gold is 18%, for 150 gold is 10%, for 350 gold is 5%, for 1,000 gold is 1%, and 5,000 gold is 0.5%. Honestly, those aren't awful drop chances. If you add this 1.5% here from the 5,000 gold and 1,000 gold, that means that once again, you can add that to this list up here, and you have about a 5.5% chance to get a pretty decent reward. If you add that to the final chance here of 350 gold, you have a 10% chance to get at least gold from opening each container. So, not bad. The free XP containers are actually a lot better in my opinion than the gold containers. The only problem is that the Snow Globe drop chance is really, really low. Now we can see once again that there are some legendary camos here. We got some camos from last year, and apart from that, there's really not all too much special. But yeah, pretty fun overall. I'm personally very, very excited to gamble all of my XP away. Make sure you stay tuned for that live stream, which will be December 16th. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.